Hey folks, welcome to Yahoo Sports. I am Kevin Iole, and my guest today is the president of the UFC, Dana White. Dana is in Abu Dhabi, UFC 254 on October 24th. Khabib Nurmagomedov against Justin Gaethje for the lightweight championship. Going to be a great fight. Dana, how's it going today?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I am doing awesome, doing really well. Really can't wait to Khabib and Justin. I think that's one of the fights that any fight fan has got to be excited about. But let's start not with the fight itself, but the card. You're starting it at an early time, at a different time. The main card starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'm just curious why the change. You've been on a roll with your pay-per-views and your normal time frame. Why the change for this one?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, Abu Dhabi wanted to do that. They wanted to do it, and obviously they've been incredibly, insanely good partners for the last 12 years. And, if you look at our international partners and fans and all that stuff, we can give them one at a prime time, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
I look at this card and I think I said this to you before, where I think it's a $1 million buy pay-per-view and, could be a 2 million buy pay-per-view under the right circumstances. But you go into this different time makes me wonder if you're going to hit that. Do you feel like, you're doing something for your partner that may hurt you domestically in terms of the pay-per-view sales?
We've been killing it, man. Every fight that we've been putting on, even the Holly Holm fight the other day, crushed it. We crushed it last week with that card. The Adesanya fight crushed. I mean, we're just, I'm not even concerned about it.
Okay. Yeah, you had said to me a while back that you thought even though there was no fans for most of the year this year, that there was a chance that 2020 could be the best year in UFC history. I know last year had been the best year in UFC history in terms of, overall. How can that possibly be that you're going to go 9 months with no fans and all of a sudden now have this happen?
Because we know what the hell we're doing. That's how. Every time, something happens to the business, we sit down and we try to figure out, just like when the pandemic started. The first thing that I didn't say is let's shut this thing down and let's go hide in the house. I said, let's figure out how to do this safely. There has to be a way. There's always a way to solve problems. And without letting you know too much, I don't like to know. I don't like to let the media know too much about our business and how it runs and what we do. But we figured out how to, and listen, I don't want to get too cocky here. I still have 2 weeks left at Fight Island, and let's not forget it is 2020. Okay,
yeah,
the craziest year on the planet.
Yeah.
So I got 2 weeks to go. We get through these last 2 weeks and don't have any problems or anything crazy happen. This will absolutely, positively be the biggest year in UFC history.
Is it safe to, I mean, I got to think, you've been in Abu Dhabi now for, two different stints, for basically 2 months. They've got to be paying you a big site fee each show, right? I mean, because that's the only way you could be the best in history is if you're getting some kind of big site fee from them that would essentially make up for the lost gates. I mean, is that a fair assumption?
That isn't the only way that you could make up that money. That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. Listen, we obviously, we did a deal here in Abu Dhabi that works for us and that works for them. We're all happy with the way this deal worked out. But there are many other ways to make up that revenue. And especially when we were willing to go through the pandemic and with our numbers, at the level that they're at right now. Yeah, I don't like to talk too much about inside the business and how it works and all that stuff. But I'll tell you this, I've been very proud of the fact since this whole thing started that we haven't laid anybody off. Nobody's been laid off during COVID. Nobody's salaries have been cut. Fighters have been getting fights. The The Contender series has been rolling. This will be our 32nd event through the pandemic, and it's going to be the best year in the history of the company. And now I'm trying to figure out, the next puzzle is, how do I throw my employees the most ridiculous Christmas party that they've ever seen? So that's my next, how do I figure that out?
Before we move on to the fights, there was one other thing I wanted to ask you about. I heard a rumor that there might be a few fans that they were trying to work on it in Abu Dhabi, and you might have a few fans there. Can you confirm that? Will there be some fans in attendance at UFC 254?
We don't know yet. We don't know the answer to that question yet. I believe that Abu Dhabi will probably be first with having fans. And, this place is such a cool destination, from hotels, restaurants, all the different sightseeing. The infrastructure here is unbelievable. The list goes on and on. So when we come back again, I'm hoping that there's going to be fans, and we'll do something much like International Fight Week and have all kinds of stuff going on all week for people to come in from all over the world and check out Fight Island.
Okay. Let's talk about the fight. I mean, I'm a little surprised at the odds. Khabib is 28-0 and one of the greatest fighters of all time. I think the pound for pound best fighter in the world now. And yet the odds keep, and so you figure he's going to be the favorite, but the odds keep creeping up. And it's almost like they forget what Justin Gaethje did against Tony Ferguson. Khabib is like, I think now, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't look this morning, but I think it's like 350 favorite. It seems a little high for a fight that, against somebody of Justin Gaethje's stature. How do you look at this matchup, and does it surprise you that Khabib is a big favorite and growing?
Yeah, well, that tells you that a lot of people are laying money on Khabib, right. And he's been so dominant throughout his career. But the thing that makes this such a great fight is that Justin Gaethje has the perfect style. MMA wrestling, not just wrestling, MMA wrestling. He's right. Very good. His wrestling as it applies to the sport of mixed martial arts. Then he has knockout power in both hands. He's not afraid to go after anybody and mix it up. This is by far the most dangerous opponent that Khabib has ever faced. Right. So, if you're a gambler, you got to love those odds.
And looking at Khabib, he's known for his grappling, and it's almost like he's an Olympic medalist wrestler, the way he, his grappling. But I think, the Conor McGregor fight 2 years ago this month showed something, that his hands are better than people think. And the fact that, we know Conor is an elite striker, and Khabib drops him with that right hand, and Khabib, obviously his grappling makes his hands better. But do you think people sleep on Khabib's hands?
100%. Yeah, I do. He hits hard. And the thing is, when you have a guy who wrestles the way that he does, and the damage that he does to you when you get down on your back, and how hard it is to get up, all you start focusing on is not getting taken down, which, makes him able to land some big shots on people.
Right. Really good card. You got a 6-fight main card. One of the co-main event I like a lot. Robert Whittaker, who I think is a fantastic fighter, and because of what happened at Adesanya, people kind of overlook him fighting Jared Cannonier. Adesanya said that he would like to fight Jared Cannonier next. But what happens if Robert Whittaker wins that fight? Do we see a rematch with he and Adesanya, or where do you go?
First of all, I agree with you. I love that fight. Incredible co-main event. You have the number 1 guy in the world at middleweight taking on basically the number 2 guy in the world at middleweight. He's number 3 in the rankings, but number 2 is Costa, who just got destroyed by Adesanya. So it's 1 versus 2, and the winner absolutely should face Adesanya next. And the reality is, if Cannonier wins, I know that Adesanya loves the challenge and wants to take on Cannonier. But if you're Adesanya, you got to look at this thing too. When they fought last time, they broke all the records in Australia and New Zealand.
Meaning Whittaker.
Whittaker and Adesanya.
Right.
Then Adesanya Costa just fought, and they broke the record again in New Zealand.
What record did they break? What record did they break?
Pay-per-view.
Okay.
Now, if these two fight again for a second time, it's a very, very massive fight over there. And I think it's hard to overlook it. So, listen, let's let this thing play out, and no sense in any brain damage over it now going, well, if Whittaker wins, he should do, we'll see if Whittaker wins. We'll see if Cannonier wins, and we'll go from there. But it makes a lot of sense for those two to fight again.
I love what Adesanya's doing and the way he's promoting himself and the what he's created. And so, he's gotten into this thing with John Jones. I don't like the stuff on Twitter that they're doing, and it's getting a little crazy. But Adesanya has created now an event with John Jones where, I think a lot of people want to see him fight John Jones. And he told me he's willing to fight John Jones at heavyweight. You have said that's the fight to make. But how long down the road is that? Is it a fight that's a year or 2 years? Or is that something that, maybe, in a more shorter time frame we could see?
I'm going to tell you what I loved about Adesanya's approach when you look at this and break it down to answer your question. So he comes in, he works his way up to the top, right? Mm-hmm. Fights Whittaker, wins. Costa gets hurt. He's out. What does he do? He says, I want Romero. And everybody's like, well, Romero doesn't deserve the next shot. I don't care. He's one of the baddest dudes in the division. He's a guy that people look at as a tough guy. I want to beat him. And he does, right? Now, he says if Cannonier wins, what he's doing is he's looking to clean out the division.
Right.
So it's the way it should be done. I took all the guys that everybody thought were the top 5 or the best in the world after I worked my way up already and beat all these other guys. So I'm going to clean out the division. Then, I fight John Jones, or do I go to 205? And try for that belt or whatever, I think the way he's doing it is brilliant.
Yeah, no, I think he's really smart too. He's a great fighter. He's a great marketer, and he just got that deal with Puma, and I think that's only the beginning for him, in my opinion. I think this is a guy that that advertisers are going to flock to, and he's going to endorse a lot of products and make a lot of mailbox money where he's getting that check coming in and not having to get in the ring and fight.
I agree.
One of the fights on your undercard still is sitting there. You have Michael Chandler there. You have Islam Makhachev with no fight. Have you thought about putting those two together?
No, because I need Chandler. I need him. We have other plans for him. So if he doesn't have to step in, we've got other plans.
So let's take Chandler first and then Makhachev. If Chandler does not have to step in, obviously he's going to need some kind of break because he's going to make weight and he's going to, deplete his body a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to weigh in.
Right. So I know he's going to weigh in. So he's going to deplete his body. So he couldn't just come back and fight, say, the 31st, right? So he needs some time off. How quickly could you turn him around?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question yet.
Okay.
We'll see how his weighing goes and all that stuff.
There's been talk, Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier with him, whatnot. Can you clarify, have you offered him any fights of that ilk? We hear some, yes, he's been offered those fights and those guys turned it down, or that he turned it down. Has Michael Chandler been offered any specific fight other than being the backup to Khabib and Justin?
Yeah, he's been offered a fight. Yeah. It didn't work out. So we have him backing this fight up in case anything goes wrong.
Now, what did you make of Ali Abdelaziz, Khabib's manager and the manager of Islam Makhachev, offering $200,000 to Tony Ferguson to fight Makhachev? I don't know if you saw that or heard about that. He even wrote checks and put them on. He put a copy of the check on Twitter, saying that he was serious, that if Ferguson would fly to Fight Island and fight Islam, that he would give him $100,000 a show and then extra $100,000 if he won.
Interesting.
Did you talk to Tony about it?
Hey, Ali can pump up everybody's paycheck if he wants to.
Did you talk to Tony about that?
It's good to be rich. Good to be rich. That Khabib money.
Did you talk to Tony about that at all?
No, I haven't talked to Tony. No. I mean, I know that our guys have talked to Tony. We wouldn't let Ali put up the money for,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Who knows?
We wouldn't let that happen. I'm joking.
What is going, so bottom line, what is going on with Makhachev? Who's he going to fight?
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't think he's going to fight this week.
So you'll yank him from the card then? So
Yeah.
5-fight main card instead of 6?
Right.
Okay. All right. A couple other things. Do you have some time? I can ask you a few other things.
Sure.
Okay. You know, I saw you popped into my live chat I was doing yesterday. And the question I got over and over was about Leon Edwards. And I have to admit, it's kind of bizarre. A great fighter like Leon Edwards on a roll and he's not fighting. What is going on with Leon Edwards? Why is he on the sidelines so long?
He's not on the sidelines. I mean, listen, the kid was ready to fight. And then all that stuff went down when COVID started. And, we still thought we were going to go to England. England
Right.
was still open and we were going to do it. And all that stuff happened. He has been offered. He's been offered a fight. I don't want to get into the whole, who turns down fights and who doesn't turn down fight. But, he's been offered a fight. He's been offered a fight. We'll get him figured out soon.
Now, I asked you this yesterday, and you said the fight was going to happen by the end of the year. Peter Yan versus Aljo. Why has this taken so long to officially put together? And Peter Yan, I don't know if you saw his tweet about a week or so ago. He tweeted to Sterling. He said, "It's not me. I want to fight." UFC said they had something going on. So, was there anything going on other than Yan versus Sterling that you were thinking of doing?
No. I mean, listen, we got this stint we're doing over here. The world isn't normal right now. We're doing these things in little blocks. Normally we would sit down and we would lay out the whole year. If this guy wins, he's probably going to fight again in this many months. If this, that's normally what we do.
Understood.
Nothing we're doing right now is normal, in this year. But Yan versus Sterling is happening December 12th. It'll be the co-main event underneath Amanda and Megan Anderson.
Okay, good. So that was the thing. People were wondering about that. So now we have finality that is actually done. One of the other things, I did an interview yesterday with Laura Sanko. I wrote a story about James Krause, and she trained under James Krause and, works at his gym. And, this is probably the 4th or 5th interview I've done with Laura Sanko. And I am continuously blown away by her and by how smart and what a mind for MMA she has. And knowing, that the UFC has been a trailblazer in so many ways, her goal has always been to work ringside and be a ringside analyst. And it just dawned on me, and she didn't ask me to ask you this. And I told her that I was going to ask you a question about her, but she doesn't know what it is. And my question is, why not give her a shot at ringside? I am absolutely blown away, as I think a lot of the fans are, by her knowledge and how quick she is with things. And, I wonder, when you look in major professional sports, not many women fill that role. And I think she would be a fantastic one. Would you ever give her a chance sitting ringside next to John Anik or one of your other play-by-play people?
Well, the reason you think that and you think so highly of her is because so do we. That's why she's here. And you just can't throw somebody in that position. There's a process with basically all these fighters that end up in that and all these different positions on camera.
Right.
We fly them out. We see if they have the potential. They actually go through a series of tests.
Really?
Before they're put anywhere. And when Laura is ready, she'll be there.
Okay, because I honestly think every time I talk to her, she's one of the most insightful people, and I agree. I think you have some unbelievable. You've seen me write about Bisping in DC and Dominic Cruz. I think you have some great, fighter analysts that are doing really good work. I look at her and I think not only is she fantastic, but as a woman, she's a trailblazer. And you opened up women's fighting when you brought Ronda in, and I think that would be such a big thing for women in sport if you could put somebody like that on a big show and have her doing analysts on a show. Yep,
we agree. That's why she's here.
All right, good. Glad to hear that. Nate Diaz had a kind of a cryptic tweet yesterday, 165. I'm not sure who he was talking to, but obviously he wants to fight somebody at 165 pounds, not Connor or not Dustin Poirier, because he said they're washed up and he's already taken care of them. Any idea who he's talking about? And have you had conversations about Diaz fighting at 165?
You think I know anything that the Diaz brothers are talking about? Are you crazy? But Nate's been saying that forever. And it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen here.
A 165 division.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not in favor.
There's no point of doing a fight at 165. What does it mean? If we don't have a division for it, why would we do a fight at 165? It makes no sense. Well, maybe it'll happen somewhere. It's never going to happen here. Not while I'm here anyway.
Well, so two questions I want to ask you about that. I mean, my feeling, I think you and I have talked about this privately. I'm not in favor of that, of a 165-pound division either. But, to play the devil's advocate, if it's not a title fight, if it's a catchweight fight, why not say, hey, what's the difference, where they're at?
I hate catchweight fights. I hate fights that don't mean anything. There's plenty of people out there putting on fights that mean nothing. You want to watch fights that mean nothing? I'll give you a list of shows you can go watch of fights that mean nothing. Okay. That's just not what we do here.
Now,
there's plenty of places you can go and get paid to do fights that mean nothing. And if you look at us right now, if you look at our featherweight division, our lightweight division, our welterweight division, our middleweight division, they've never been more stacked with exciting potential fights. Basically, we know what the fuck we're doing. You know what I mean? So
right.
If you want meaningless fights that mean nothing, like I said, I can write you a list of where you can go watch all those type of fights.
Now, again, I'm going to preface my question by saying I'm not in favor of this, but, you have said many times, that you're against adding weight classes and you're never going to have a 165-pound division. And you've said it won't happen. I don't know that you've ever said why. Why do you object to that? So I just want to get you on record so that you explain your rationale for it.
For the 165-pound division?
Yeah.
Well, like I was just telling you right now, you got, in the lightweight division, right? And the welterweight division. You have Khabib as the champion, Gaethje, Poirier, Ferguson, Hooker, McGregor, Oliveira, who's looked unbelievable. And those are the top six, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Colby Covington, Usman the champion, Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards, Masvidal, Thompson. And then you got guys on their way up like Jeff Neal, Hamzat, and welterweight and middleweight. And I can keep going on. The list goes on and on. Now, what's going to happen is you create a 165 division, guys who can't win the title, guys who can't compete in the top 5 in these divisions. It is very, very hard to make it into the top 5 in the UFC.
Right.
And you'll see the thing, just people flooding to 65 to try to win the title. Or, you'll have these champions trying to win. So you'd probably end up with Usman trying to win 2 titles at 65. It fucks everything up.
Okay.
Literally everything is perfect right now. Over the last couple of years, we have built this business and built this thing up to where we are to now. You got featherweight, Volkanovski, Holloway, Ortega, Zabit, the Zombie, Yair, Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett. You know what I mean? That's the top 7. And you look at the top 7 in any division we have right now.
Strong.
It is badass.
I agree with that.
Start throwing goofy weight classes like 65. And why does Diaz want to go to 65? Why not 70?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen, if you don't like making 55, then why not fight at 70? You know why he doesn't want to fight at 70? You know why a lot of these guys wouldn't want to fight at 70? I'll tell you why. Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards. That's why.
You mentioned one of the guys I'm going to bring up. one thing I don't want to do is talk politics with you, but what I want to do is kind of talk around politics. And here's what I think is interesting. You tweeted out Jan Blachowicz met with the prime minister or the president, the leader of Poland, when he got home after winning the light heavyweight championship. Jairzinho Rozenstruik met in Suriname, the leader of that country. Masvidal was out the other day campaigning for President Trump. I think you have a number of fighters out there that are on the trail campaigning for Trump. And I wonder, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you would have 20 years ago when you started this, you would be in a situation where top political leaders were trying to be seen with your fighters and have pictures with your fighters to help them in their careers?
So my philosophy has always been, as human beings, we love fighting. We get it. We love it. And we are also fascinated by who the toughest people in the world are. Mm-hmm. And when those people come from where you come from, look like you, talk like you, it's just, there's nothing bigger. Right. And it's funny because I talked to the president last night and he says to me, "Oh my God, this Buckley knockout. Have you ever seen anything like this?" I said, "Mr. President, nobody's ever seen anything like this. It was the most viral thing on the internet and all this stuff." Then he says to me, "How about Holly Holm? Huh? She looks reborn. It's unbelievable. She looked incredible that night." You know what I mean? So what's amazing is, I told you earlier in the conversation, the numbers are through the roof, everything that's going on. But like, when I say the world is watching political leaders, the who's who and the Hollywood scene, wherever you live, and the list goes on and on. It's phenomenal what is happening right now.
I want to share something with people who are watching this that I think was funny. You mentioned the Buckley knockout. So as soon as that happened, the first thing I did is I got to write a story. So I got to call Dana to get a quote for my story. And so I dial the phone and Dana picks up the phone and he doesn't say, "Hello, what's up?" The first thing he goes, "Can you freaking believe that?" And like he, right in the middle, he picks up and boom, he's right in the middle of it. And to me, like that I've known it obviously for a long time, but that showed, you are a fan. You're not just a businessman making money off this, which, you love the fights. And I just heard that passion in your voice. And I just wanted to share that with people. I thought that was pretty crazy.
I'm going to tell you what sucks for the fans. Last weekend, we have that fight card here, right? And the setup is very much like the Apex, right?
Right.
I was just talking to my people today. We were talking about, I had so much fun last Saturday at that fight card. It was incredible. Yeah. And all we kept talking about was, imagine if the fans were here tonight. If this was a sold out arena anywhere in the world. I had so much fun last weekend. It was awesome.
That was the best cards ever.
I'm excited for when we can get fans back and people can come experience this live like we have been through this pandemic.
I think the last live fight, maybe the last live fight, maybe I'm missing it, was Weili Zhang versus Joanna, and that was one of the great fights of the year. So at least
how fun was that?
Yeah. Let's wrap up on this. Where's Weili? When are we going to see her back?
Yeah, we haven't got a date for her yet, but we're talking about dates for her. So she'll be coming back in early 2021.
And Rose will be her opponent?
That we hope so. We don't know. We haven't put it together yet. Rose had some surgery after her last fight, so it's going to depend on how she's healing.
Dana, good stuff. I appreciate it. Good luck. UFC 254, October 24th. It's going to be a special start time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific for the main card. What time is the undercard start? I'm sure you know that better than me.
Yeah, you got it. You just nailed it. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock on the West Coast.
Right. That's the main card. When does the prelim start?
10:15 Eastern.
Okay, there we go. That's the preliminary card. And as I said, the main card, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Khabib versus Justin. Great fight. Dana, thank you so much. Appreciate all your time.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.